There is a cleaner that costs $4 at any auto parts store that restores lost engine power instantly. Not improves it slightly, restores it. That sluggish throttle response making your car feel 10 years older than it is, the rough idle vibrating through the steering wheel at every stoplight, the fuel economy dropping month after month for no apparent reason. One application of this spray dissolves the carbon buildup choking your engine intake and brings performance back to factory specifications. Professional mechanics charge nothing to explain this because explaining it would eliminate their most profitable 15-minute service. A solution sitting on the auto parts shelf for $4 cannot justify a $200 diagnostic fee and labor charge. This is the story of the throttle body cleaner that mechanics use in secret and the service industry that marked it up 5,000%. Welcome to my channel. If you are not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we expose what the automotive industry spent billions keeping quiet. Now here is where this problem starts. In 1980, General Motors introduced electronic fuel injection across their entire vehicle lineup, replacing carburetors that had dominated engine design since the early 1990s. Fuel injection was more efficient, more reliable, and met stricter emissions regulations that carburetors could never achieve. But fuel injection introduced a component that carburetors never needed: the throttle body. The throttle body is a valve that controls airflow into the engine. When you press the gas pedal, a cable or electronic signal opens a butterfly valve inside the throttle body housing. More air flows in, the engine computer adds more fuel to match, and power increases. When you release the pedal, the valve closes partially, restricting airflow and reducing power. The throttle body sits at the entrance of the intake manifold, where it encounters every particle of contamination floating in the air the engine breathes. Dust from roads, oil vapor from the crankcase ventilation system, and unburned fuel residue from exhaust gas recirculation all pass through the throttle body, opening thousands of times per day. Over months and years, these contaminants accumulate as a black tar-like carbon deposit on the throttle plate and the surrounding bore. The buildup is gradual and invisible from outside the engine, but it has measurable consequences. The science behind throttle body contamination is documented in automotive engineering journals since the 19th. Carbon deposits reduce the effective diameter of the air passage. A throttle body designed to flow 400 cubic feet per minute of air at wide-open throttle might flow only 320 cubic feet per minute with moderate carbon buildup. That 20% reduction in airflow translates directly to lost horsepower and torque. The engine cannot breathe properly. Acceleration becomes sluggish. Fuel economy drops because the engine computer compensates for restricted airflow by adding extra fuel. The air-fuel mixture becomes rich, wasting gasoline and increasing emissions. Carbon buildup also prevents the throttle plate from closing completely at idle. The engine computer expects a specific airflow rate when the throttle is closed. When carbon deposits hold the valve slightly open, more air enters than the computer anticipates. The idle speed becomes erratic. The engine hunts for the correct RPM, surging and dropping randomly. Some vehicles stall at stop signs. Others vibrate noticeably at idle as the computer struggles to maintain stable combustion with incorrect air-fuel ratios. Throttle body cleaner works because it contains powerful solvents designed specifically to dissolve baked-on carbon deposits without damaging aluminum, rubber, or electronic sensors. The active ingredients typically include acetone, toluene, and methyl ethyl ketone in a pressurized aerosol carrier. When you spray the cleaner onto carbon-coated surfaces, the solvents break down the molecular bonds holding the carbon together. The deposits soften, liquefy, and wash away, leaving bare metal that allows unrestricted airflow. A 2016 study conducted by the Society of Automotive Engineers tested throttle body cleaning effectiveness on 50 vehicles, showing performance degradation symptoms. Researchers measured airflow, horsepower, fuel consumption, and idle stability before and after cleaning. Vehicles received professional throttle body cleaning using the same aerosol cleaners sold at retail auto parts stores. The results were significant. Average airflow increased 18% after cleaning. Horsepower improved by an average of 12 horsepower across all tested vehicles. Fuel economy improved between 5 and 11% depending on driving conditions. Idle stability returned to factory specifications in 94% of vehicles tested. The automotive repair industry generates over $88 billion annually in the United States. Routine maintenance services including throttle body cleaning, oil changes, and fluid replacements account for approximately 35% of that revenue. Throttle body service is marketed as essential maintenance every 30,000 to 50,000 miles depending on the manufacturer. Dealerships charge between $150 and $250 for the service. Independent shops charge $80 to $150. The actual material cost is one $6 can of cleaner. The labor time is 10 to 15 minutes for an experienced technician. If vehicle owners understood that throttle body cleaning requires no specialized tools, no diagnostic equipment, and no mechanical expertise beyond following simple instructions, the entire service category collapses. You cannot patent a spray solvent. You cannot create a subscription model around a product people use once every 3 years. You cannot justify $200 labor charges for a procedure anyone can complete in their driveway in 15 minutes. Dealerships and independent shops responded predictably. They emphasize complexity and risk. Service advisors are trained to mention potential sensor damage, improper reassembly, and warranty concerns if owners attempt DIY throttle body cleaning. They recommend professional service with computerized diagnostic verification before and after cleaning. The diagnostic scan adds $80 to $120 to the bill but provides zero functional value for a simple cleaning procedure. Here is exactly what the service industry will never tell you. Throttle body cleaning is the simplest maintenance task on any fuel-injected vehicle. Locate the throttle body by tracing the large air intake tube from the air filter box to the engine. The throttle body is the aluminum housing where that tube connects to the intake manifold. Most vehicles allow access without removing anything. Some require removing the air intake tube, which disconnects with a single hose clamp. Buy a can of throttle body cleaner from any auto parts store. Brands like CRC, Gumout, and Berryman all work identically because they use the same active ingredients. The can costs between $4 and $7. Start the engine and let it idle. Locate the throttle plate inside the throttle body opening. It looks like a circular metal disc that rotates to control airflow. With the engine running at idle, spray the cleaner directly onto the throttle plate and the surrounding bore. Use short bursts rather than continuous spray. The engine RPM will fluctuate as the solvent enters the combustion chambers. This is normal and expected. Spray from multiple angles to cover the entire circumference of the throttle plate. Use approximately half the can for thorough cleaning. The carbon will dissolve immediately, and the loosened deposits will burn off inside the engine as black smoke from the exhaust. After spraying, turn off the engine and let it sit for 5 minutes. This allows the solvent to penetrate stubborn deposits. Restart the engine and spray the remaining cleaner while the engine runs. The throttle response will feel noticeably sharper immediately. For heavily contaminated throttle bodies, repeat the process with a second can after the first application. Use a clean cloth or soft brush to wipe away loosened carbon from accessible surfaces inside the throttle body bore. Reinstall any components you removed. The entire process takes 15 minutes maximum. Total cost is under $10, including 2 cans of cleaner if needed. A software engineer in Texas documented this procedure on a 2014 Toyota Camry with 85,000 miles, showing sluggish acceleration and 23 mpg fuel economy. The dealership recommended throttle body service for $180 during a routine oil change. He declined and performed the cleaning himself using a $5 can of CRC throttle body cleaner. He measured fuel economy over the next 500 miles under identical driving conditions. The average increased to 27 mpg, a 17% improvement. The throttle response became immediate and crisp. He posted photos of the carbon removed from the throttle body. The buildup was severe enough to restrict airflow significantly, yet the engine computer never triggered a check engine light or fault code. Prevention requires understanding how carbon forms. The primary source is crankcase vapor containing oil mist that recirculates through the intake system. Using high-quality synthetic oil reduces vapor contamination. Replacing the PCV valve at recommended intervals prevents excessive crankcase pressure. Driving at highway speeds regularly helps burn off deposits before they harden. But even with perfect maintenance, carbon accumulation is inevitable on any engine breathing outside air. Knowledge like this does not disappear because it stops working. It disappears because it stops generating profit. Subscribe and share this with every driver still paying mechanics $200 for what a $4 spray can accomplishes.